But what happens is, if you don't find an immediate win, with rook and knight versus rook, it's going to draw. So you have to find an immediate win, right, if there is one.
So I like, so rook's on a5, right?
I'm sorry, the rook's here, yeah?
No, I like it. It just said you have e8 queen.
You like this move?
Yes.
All right, check. So I can take, well, if I take this way, I get forked, right?
Yeah.
So I'm not going to take, I take this way. What happens now?
Rook e5 check.
Rook e5 check, okay.
Oh.
So what happens if I just go here?
Rook d5 check.
Rook d5 check. What I have to do is just make sure that I stay on a light square. Because a dark square is a fork. What if I go here?
Oh, whoops.
Right?
I thought I covered that. I didn't.
Too bad I didn't have a rook and pawn aiming against Suhas last week. Unfortunately, it was not rook and pawn against Suhas last week. So
That's in my head.
this is an example of you have to think outside the box a little bit. When you're playing in chess, you want to go through the obvious things, and you're thinking the obvious things don't work. Can we do a finesse? Finesse of something really cool.
Oh my gosh.
Do you see it?
Knight f7.
Oh my gosh.
What? Bob Sear! It's a prize.
I get the prize?
You get the prize. There's a prize for you. It's my admiration.
Admiration. Thanks, Joe.
So we're kind of forcing the hand. We're attacking the rook, right? So, what happens if black does not take the pawn? We get a queen, and the rook's being attacked. So what does the rook do? White to play.
Checkmate.
Boom, Bob Sear. Natural chess talent, checkmate.
Bob Sear,
Yes.
the man
Bob
with the
Sear's on
plan.
fire. So this is fascinating because in this position, a lot of players will be obsessed about making the queen, right? Sorry. So, but we actually got to make a checkmate. Isn't this cool? This is pretty cool. So, yeah, this is pretty cool because we force it. Because if you take the pawn, we take the rook, right? Bob, all right. Very impressive, Bob. Very impressive.
I've never seen a checkmate before in my life. That's beautiful checkmate.
Yes. Okay, so this is amazing. So a lot of this stuff is like thinking outside the box, right? Thinking outside the box because, like guys like Nelson, the reason why he's rated so high is because it's more than calculation. He thinks outside the box. He thinks in mysterious ways, and that's what we're learning. So, white's going this way. Is white going to draw, win, or lose? So first of all, do you think white can lose this, anybody?
No.
Right, because if it's white's play you want to draw, what are you going to do? We just take the pawn and draw. However, so the question is, can we win this or is this a draw?
Oh, tricky.
So do you think that, because, let me give you a hint. What color is the corner?
White.
What color is the bishop?
Black. Wrong color.
Wrong color. So, see, my previous lectures are just in general Bob knows. So, basically, if the knight falls, it's a draw, right? Or unless you can do something weird, right?
Well, bishop at knight is enough to win.
It is, and we're going to assume everybody knows that checkmate.
The W formation?
Yes, that's one method is the W technique. I'd be happy to do the bishop and knight checkmate lecture, but it might be too, it might be too confusing or cumbersome. But so, does anybody think that white can win this? Suhas does. You see a way, right?
I want Sparta.
Oh, he must see the way. Does anybody else see a way to win for white? Any ideas? Even cameraman Mike.
Well, I'm having trouble because if I move the bishop out of the way, then g2 comes, and I'm trying to figure out how to stop promotion. Oh, I have an idea.
Okay, so put your idea on hold. Does
Okay.
anybody else see an idea to win that Suhas found and Mike is working on? Right? I know it's hard because Eddie Van Halen passed away today. So from my generation, he was like a big deal guitarist, you know. But for younger people, like, who's this guy? Like, one of the best guitarists of his generation. And you know what happened? So he died of throat cancer. He smoked every day. When he was playing guitar in concert, he would stick the cigarette at the end of his guitar while he played. But he died of throat cancer, so that's like, you know, he's only 65, so, you know. That's my little lecture about don't smoke, kids. All right, so,
Yeah, no smoking.
all right. But, okay, so, anybody else besides Suhas and Mike see an idea here? This is kind of clever. So, if you don't want your opponent to stalemate, what are things you should do to not let a stalemate happen? You have to give the king squares, right? So you have a way, you might have a way to give the king squares, but there's a second problem. You have to give him squares without losing the game, right? Because, you know, you don't want this to take this thing. So, while you guys think, Mike, what do you know? What's your idea?
So I think the idea is you have to use your knight to block your bishop's path so that the king can
Right.
take on a7.
We want to block the bishop's path. So what's your first move, Mike or Suhas?
So
China.
Bishop g1.
Very good. What we're doing is now the passed pawn can't move. So black has one move, right?
g2. Then you go knight f2.
Yes. And look what happens. Suhas, was this your answer?
Yep.
And what happens is we now give the king spaces to go. And after this move, the assumption is we can win the endgame, right? But the idea here was thinking, chess thinking. Like, so I play a lot of chess players of all ages. And like the early teen chess players who are really high, they are extremely good at this stuff. They don't know, like, a lot of openings and whatever, but they have tactics and they find this stuff very quickly. So it might be their training or it might be a natural ability. But like Max Slew, when he was a 10-year-old master, right? Before he was a master, like he was an expert, he would like I was playing him and I won a pawn, and he found some freaky stuff to draw the game against me. I was like, wow. And then he became a master. So he's losing Connecticut. So all right. So here. Okay. So this one here. Is going to be white to play. So, is white winning this or white drawing this? And here's a hint. Rook and knight versus knight should win, right? Would you agree, Suhas? Rook and knight versus knight should win, unless there's some weird tactic. So,
Is this
white
black?
to move.
White to move.
Play. So does
Okay.
white draw this or lose this? I don't think they're going to win this. If anybody thinks they're going to win, if they think that white is lost, raise your hand. If you think that white can draw, raise your hand. All right. Very good. That's true. One thing I learned is that when you're doing a lecture, you want to ask questions that get the audience to raise their hand, because that makes them part of the lecture. Like, moving your hand does something with your psychology of your mind, where now you're, that's how you get people to like not fall asleep in class, is that they can get them to raise their hands. Derek would like offer treats to kids, and they go, ooh, and guess what? They're not falling asleep. So what kind of offers for a treat? Hey, have you ever seen a 50, Shayna?
Yeah.
Okay, good. You see one.
Joe's voted tonight.
Yeah, okay, so Suhas, you see the draw?
Yep.
Great. How about anybody else see the draw?
I see it.
Here's one. Okay. Do you see the draw here, Mr. Shayer?
Not quite yet.
If anybody else sees the draw, so we have to have a consensus. If 3 people see the answer, then we're going to show it. Or claim to see the answer. Right. So this is fascinating because this Yes, Gina?
I don't know.
Yeah, I found it.
He said, great, great. So what's the move?
B4.
Check, right?
Yeah.
Right? And guess what happens if they don't take it? Then we get a draw, right? So they take it. What's the move?
Knight. Knight to check.
Check. And guess what happens?
Stalemate.
Stalemate. See, isn't that cool? So one reason why,
Wow.
like Suhas found that fast, it's because part of the rating is seeing pawn moves. To get to A player and higher, right? We see pawn moves more easily because 1400 because I had played chess casually, and when I got to the B level, I broke through to the A level when I saw the pawn moves. When I saw pawn moves and color complexes, and that lifted me up, seeing the pawn moves, right? I play speed chess with stronger players, and they beat me with pawn moves. And I said, you know what? I'll make pawn moves that are crazy, and I won more games. And I also defended better. So pawn moves, even silly, like funny pawn moves, right? Okay, so, I gotta find you. Okay, this one here. This is one of my favorite ones. Well, maybe it's not. Maybe it's just boring. Okay, so this is white to play. Black's going this way. Is this a draw, a win, or a loss? Well, do you think white can lose this? Do you think that white can lose this?
No.
Unless they want to.
If they
All
want
have do
to,
is
they can.
sacrifice. Boom.
No.
But so, can white win this, right? Can white win this?
Bishop's on the opposite color of the
Right, good. So
queen square.
that is interesting because it's going here. It's the dark pawn. That's something to notice, right? But
I could tell you the first move.
what's the first move?
King b4.
So why king b4, Mike?
It's the only move I could find that doesn't stalemate.
Yes, the only way to give black a square is king b4. So that's a process of elimination. Like when you're analyzing in chess, if you look at every single combination, your head explodes, right? But if you're able to narrow the path, so this is the only move on the board which, yes, Suhas?
Incorrect. That is not the only one that more than that.
So if we go here,
Oh well, there's rook b no
Yes,
rook
yes,
b1.
oh, okay. All
Fair
right,
enough.
That's true. So, that's true. So, does anybody want to play this move?
I was considering for a second.
Yes, considering it. Okay, he's considering it. But does he want to?
No, it's a terrible move.
Yeah, I don't think there's any way you can finagle that. I mean, that's a thought that comes to mind is just give the piece up. Hello, Thomas Sullivan.
Yeah.
You're just in time for a very exciting puzzle.
Okay.
Because they're all exciting. So Mike Smith he said, okay, there's only one reasonable move that does not allow stalemate. So basically we go here, and that gives black how many options?
1.
Okay, from this position now the question is that going to be a win or a draw? And if so, what's our technique? Right? So we found now it's white to play. So what's the idea now? Can white win this, or is it still going to be a draw?
Rook c8.
Okay, rook to c8.
Yeah.
Okay, then what happens after a queen?
Then rook c2 checkmate.
Aha! So if you play here, what happens if I play here?
Oh, it's not checkmate.
It's not
It will
checkmate.
take the-
Okay. So after here I queen. So you check. But so let's say you play there. What if I play here? What happens?
Take.
So what does white do? So let's go back to, so what happens
No,
is,
here, white
You
takes
can-
it, rook c2.
you think that they win here?
You can
Yeah.
force what I think is a draw.
And now rook c2 is.
If you go
Right.
rook c1,
Right. But,
check, and then bring the bishop down to b1, and then you lose the rook, but he loses the pawn. I think that's a draw.
Right, you can draw, but we could have drawn move one, boom, take it. So if we wanted to draw, we could have taken it earlier.
Mm.
But it is noting that we want to avoid a draw, right? So after there, right? And then after this move, what happens?
I have to play king c3, unfortunately.
King c3.
And I'm trying to figure out how this is made. No, I don't want to play king c3. How can
So
I do this?
here's one thing that happens. When you're looking at a variation, it gets messy. Go back to the drawing board and say, is there something simpler?
I thought king b3 was winning, but and then I saw a1 equals knight. That draws.
Great, so we have a nice puzzle. And what happens is we discovered that to avoid stalemate or being silly, we come here and here. So after here, this move was proposed, and it's a lot of work. It might be the right move, but is it a move that wins very easily? So this is what Lenderman taught me, was that when you have a position like this, you look for something, and if it's a lot of work, put it in the back of your head and go to something, another idea. And that might be the one like that, right? And that, he like calculates like a machine, right? And he sees this stuff like instantly, right? So he goes, okay, that idea might work, but is there something much simpler?
So
Do we have something simpler?
what about king c4?
King c4.
I guess that's not the answer because you're thinking. Well, I was gonna go king
I was gonna
c4, and
say
if you
king
go,
a4,
After king c4, don't I come
and
here
now
and
he
say-
can't.
say
Black
kind of
can't defend the pawn.
I was gonna.
without getting checkmated.
Oh yeah, what do you say, Thomas?
King a4, and then black cannot defend the pawn without getting checkmated.
So
He has to
no,
move-
no, this is current. This
No,
is
wait a
current by the
minute.
pawn. The pawn's going like
Actually, he can.
this. If we go here, this
Actually,
is
the
very
pawn-
simple. We're stalemated again. See, we have no square. We have no square.
No, checkmate. The rook can come down. Oh yeah, that's.
Pawns go like that.
Well, Joe, my idea was after king c4, you go king a1, and then I go rook a8, and then I believe I'm able to pick up the pawn.
So here's another thought. Like we're very intent on saying black cannot allow a queen at any circumstances. But do we care if he queens? That's another thing. It's like we're spending a lot of effort to stop the queening process. And if you find something, but if you allow, like in this position, you say, wait a second. If they just queen, can we go boom, boom, win, right? Can we just let them queen and win the game? See, I'm feeling very smart all of a sudden. Because, like, I found this before you guys did. But then again, I practice these a lot. It's one. Do you see it, Suhas?
No, I don't.
I should have let you before I play Suhas because, like, I played him last week and he was not intimidated by me at all. I had to do these puzzles before Suhas. I was like, wow, this guy's such a good Endgame player. They're not good at Endgame. But okay, so we have a technique. It's 1, 2, 1, 2. In two moves, it's obvious that there's no way out. There's no way out here. So quiet. So here's the hint. We let them queen and don't care. So what's our move?
So rook c8? I thought
Yes!
we looked at that, but
Quiet move. Go ahead and queen, buddy.
Oh, rook f8.
well, f8.
F8. Does it matter?
I'm
Well,
not
we'll go
sure.
to F. We'll go to F8. I mean, F8. Say, okay, buddy, go ahead and queen. Now, if they don't queen, right, they can choose not to queen and lose, right? So they queen. Now, do you see the answer now?
Rook f2 check.
Yes. Check, right? How many moves?
1, king c1, and then rook c2 check.
All right. Check. Check. Or is this? Did I give you guys because I set you guys off on a wild goose chase. After check, right? And here, maybe it's not the right answer, right? So back to here, and the rook was here. Okay, so after
The
here,
king was on B3.
so after here, so one thing you might consider is that, can we just let him queen and just mate him, right?
So rook c8 does work with your queen, eh?
Yes, you see? We combine ideas. Let them queen from here. All right? And now what happens?
Rook to c2.
Rook c2 check. Right? One move, right? And now what?
King b3?
King b3. Okay? So now, there's some zugzwang going on, right? So to make sure that there's no draw, right? So, if the queen moves somewhere like this, what we do?
Rook c7.
Yeah, discover you win the queen, right? So if he goes here, right?
Rook takes.
Yeah. Okay. So that one was a little bit more advanced. Like I give you a
Go back.
What?
There's still the main variation.
Okay, so Suhas might have a faster way to victory, huh?
No. There's the original variation. We didn't type it.
Here, here. So the first thing is that you see the obvious move. Yes.
King b4.
You have to. There's only one way to avoid stalemate. One legal move. We start from here. So we have more other ways to win.
So rook c8.
Okay, rook c8, right?
Now king a1.
King a1.
This was what we were looking at, and I couldn't get this to work.
Okay.
I think rook c2 is the move here.
Okay, rook c2.
And now
King b1?
King b1, right?
and now king b3 doesn't work because
It's a knight, huh?
it's a knight. So I'm not quite sure how this is
And if you
winning.
go
So
here,
what's
you
wrong
go
with
check.
king c3?
That's what I was calculating.
Queen.
And then king b3. That's a
King
win.
king
Same
b2.
position.
I mean, sorry, rook b2.
Yeah, after queer, then that's.
No. King b3. King b3.
So,
Oh, that's not, yeah, okay, that's not me. So king b3, and then we get the same position.
Right.
right. They do the same position that way.
Oh, so king c3 does work. Yeah.
So this one was a little bit laborious. Okay, so it wasn't my favorite one. This one is really good. Okay. Well, it might not be. It might be boring.
You wanna, yeah.
Because now you know I know what I'm talking about sometimes, right? Okay, so this one here, this is white to play, and the pawn is going this way. So does white win this? Does white draw this? Or does white lose this?
Black is going one way.
Black's one square away from queening, right? So obviously, what happens if we take the pawn,
Stalemate.
right? So we can draw it if we want to. But can we win this? And look how simple it is. We have, the board is so devoid of pieces. You see the answer?
I see it.
Okay, wow, that's impressive, Mike Smith. Was it in one of your Van Pelt Endgame books?
No, actually, I have that book, but I haven't played through it. So I got so sick of endgames.
Mm-hmm. Well, the good news is, okay, I'll refrain from jokes. You're not getting into them, so. Okay, so, does anybody see a way to win this for white? Because it looks like, it looks like it'd be a draw, doesn't it? Bob had a stroke of brilliancy earlier. Will that brilliancy continue? It's okay, no pressure, Bob. You're only on YouTube. For the whole world to see. I'm just kidding, my people. All right. So, do you see an idea, Subhas?
I do.
Do you double check your work?
Double checking now. Yes, I did.
Okay. So, this is an example of, so obviously I think everybody here can see ahead 3 moves just as easily as anybody else here. But what's happening is there's an idea here that's chess thinking. There's a chess thinking type of idea here that we can. Do you think we can win this, Suhas? How about you, Mike?
You want to know the answer?
No, I want to think. Can you win this?
Oh yeah.
Good.
One.
Not the answer, but do you think you can win this?
I think so.
Do you know the
I
answer?
Listen to them. But
What's the answer?
I haven't figured it out.
Okay. Well, I guess if you have an hour on your clock, it's good news. If you have 10 seconds on your clock, it's not so good news. Maybe Mario. So Mario or Laurent.
What?
Do you think that white can win this, or do you think that white will draw this?
Who's to play white now?
White to play, because black to play does that. Right? White to play, what happens if this happens? But do we have a way to win this? So before I said if 3 raise their hand, then we do the answer, but maybe it has to be 4 now because the room has gotten bigger. How about 3? We'll say 3 because it's already farther to 6. So there's a white have because obviously there's 2 queening squares here and here, so we gotta do something.
Very good. So,
Yes, yes.
you check the king
Okay.
with the rook,
Yeah. All right. And then how many moves are there?
so there's only one.
And is there a move in how that wins?
Rook to h1.
Very good. So what happens if I put the queen here?
Then you can check him on b, the bishop to h7.
Very good. Discovered check. So this is pretty freaking cool, I think. This is an example of
Bishop to A2, same thing, right?
well, what happens is there has to be a check involved. There has to be a check involved.
So the queen will take the bishop.
Yeah. If
The queen would take it.
yeah, exactly. So we have to check them first to get them on the light square. If we play here, there's no discovered check. So there's a subtlety here. We have to draw them onto the light square. So we create tactics. Step 1, put them onto. Step 2, create a discovery. Step 3, discovered check, win the piece.
Is there the same thing too? Check king with the bishop.
Then it goes here.
Here's the bishop.
So it's like this, right? So we're,
Bishop B2.
then the queen takes the bishop, and then you lose.
Oh, that's right.
Right? So this is very, very tricky. And it's amazing how when you have reduced material, there is still opportunities for complexity in the position. Right? There is still opportunity for complexity. So I'm going to show you one here. This one is white to play, and black's going to do this. Is white going to win this, lose this, or draw this? Right? Do you think white can win this, lose, or draw this? And well, actually, if let's say that black gets a queen and they keep it, probably drawing, but in weird land, right?
So white wins. I see this one.
You do?
Yes.
Very good, Mike. Very fast. It's his Van Perlo book. He's one of the best Endgame books around, and Mike's tired of studying going through it because, right? I'm gonna clean up my email while you guys look and watch. Just kidding. All right. So Suhas, do you think that white has a way to win that?
I don't see it yet.
D1.
There's Mario. Do you see a way for white?
Bishop
to win?
D1.
What?
When I know the theme, but I haven't feel where the bishop goes.
So if you play check here, I attack the bishop.
Shana sees it.
What is it? Bishop D1, and I attack the bishop. How do you now I get the queen, don't I? I get the queen. Well, that's pretty good.
So it's the wrong bishop move.
Yes, it's
You gotta
the
go to
one.
E2.
So Mike has an idea. He is creating tactics. Okay? So with Mike's move, bishop to E2, do you guys see it now?
Wow.
So after this move, does everybody see it? we're setting up tactics. Right?
Was it black to move first?
Oh, sorry, black to move. So no,
Black
I'm sorry,
takes.
discovered check. What does black do?
King takes.
Right? Why don't you go here?
Well, then I just go rook f1.
I go rook f1 and stop the pawn, right? So I take it, and now what do you do?
Rook h4.
See this? We created a skewer. We worked for our tactics. What does black do now?
Queen.
If they get a queen, right?
And rook h2.
Wait, yep. Boom, boom, grab the queen, right? This is very fascinating because I have people say, how do you create tactics? This is how you create tactics. You put your opponent in an unfortunate position, right? This is really cool. Look, reduce material greatly, and there's very clever stuff here. So everybody want to see it again?
Yeah.
Check. Right? Pretty much if you don't take it, rook comes here and stops here, right? And now, this is the quiet move we all been waiting for. Watch this. Right? You move let's say the king runs for it, right? Let's say the king runs for it. What do you do?
King d3.
No.
No.
How about something simple?
Rook eight, king, rook to h2.
Yeah, we'll attack the pawn. If they promote, we skewer. See that?
Hmm.
So this position, it's fascinating stuff, right? This is the position here. Where we create tactics. This is a very bold move. Just take the bishop and you win. So this is what I think is very, very cool. Very, very cool. See if I can find another one. All right, so here's one. And these are not group by difficulty, or they might be, who knows?
Is that from step 2, step 4?
These are from dubstep.
Who?
Dubstep. It's type of music. Okay, so, or it could be from my software. I took screenshots. It could be from anywhere. So this is white to play. So white's going this way. So obviously white can draw this. How do they draw this? If we take the rook, it's a draw, right? But can we win this? Right? Can white win this, or is this a draw?
You can do like a pawn ending.
Can they go what? You found it already? Very good. And so you found it, right, Mario? Let's give the class time to. One more person finds it, we can do it. Anybody else see it? Let me know. And again, these don't happen all the time, but it's chess thinking. This is chess ideas and thinking.
Hmm. Yeah, I see it too.
Joe, I think one of your previous lectures, you actually went over the theme of his eternal pen.
Oh, you did. I did go over the theme of this.
Yeah, and it's very nicely replicated here. We got to answer.
All right, what's the answer, Kina?
F7 check.
F7 check. Okay. What happens if king takes bishop?
I don't know.
Then
Bishop takes rook.
Yes, bishop takes rook, right? So I'm glad you said that, Shana, because if we play in a game, I want you to say, I don't know. That'd be really cool. That'd be cool. Because in the future, I might be asking you for draws. So right here, so we play check. So, right? So what happens if this happens?
Then you go bishop
Mhm.
d4 or a3.
We have to be careful because, like, if we guess, we end up fighting for a draw. So what's the answer, anyone?
bishop h4.
Right, what happens is, and guess what happens? We have to practice our two bishop checkmate. Right?
Yeah.
So this is really cool. So this is kind of an odd position, but it's the chess thinking, right? So you get partial credit for finding the right answer. So I don't know how school works. So that they get, I don't know, because when I was young, they were brutal. You know. All right, so this one here. Pass pawns are those things that there are consequences that are not always obvious. One of the easiest things is that don't let your opponent's pass pawn get too far unless you're pretty sure you can scoop it up. These things have a way of creating tactics when they're far too advanced. All right, upside down pawn for the sake of time. Don't worry about it because I just got to get my figure. All right, so this is white to play, and we got a rook, of course. So white's going this way. Do you think white can win this, or they're probably going to draw this or lose this?
White wins.
White wins. Okay, Mike's pretty sure about that. You pretty sure? Anybody? Bob Sear, do you have an idea for white?
Yep, I think so.
You see the answer, right? Very good. So how about?
Dan.
Do you see the answer? This one, they're finding it right away, which means they're either very wrong, or there's
I
something
don't
that's
see
clear.
it.
Do you see this, Shina?
I found it, yeah.
Mario, of course, you see it, right?
Yeah.
Do you see it, Mario?
Oh, I
Can
see.
you sack the rook and get the queen?
Yes! Very good. This happens, I've seen this happen in many games, or I've seen them miss this idea.
Oh, rook d6.
Yes.
Yes.
I've seen this happen.
Oh, now I see it.
Right? Because what happens now is you lose the rook, allow a queen. Right? See, this tactic will appear. This will appear on your board, I guarantee you, Shayna, if you play a lot of endgames. This idea where you play check, threatening the defender of the passed pawn, the king, you get a queen or lose the piece. This happens. I've seen it happen several times in the last few years. So this is a good one because I've seen it happen. So this one, I think I showed you guys a year ago. But it's okay. It's okay because it's always a good review.
Oh, that's a close one.
Mario's lucky because instead of prepping for Mario, I prepped for this Mario. So I've done zero prep for our game today.
Mario Bros.
What?
Mario Bros.
Okay, we got a rook here.
Are you two playing each other?
I'm playing Mario today. Okay, so this is white to play, and white's going this way. So, right, can white win this, or are they going to lose this, right? So,
I'm gonna vote white's not gonna win this one.
okay, I like a brave soul. So you're taking a stand, and he's not being wishy-washy, he's being, boom. Okay, good.
I'm going to disagree with that
Okay,
one.
good. And what do you think?
Yeah, I found a solution.
So this is very good because notice how we're having a civil debate.
Yeah,
Rook
It's
is
civil.
six.
It's civil, and there's no interruptions, and we respect the opinion. Like we
Interference.
disagree, and we respect the other person.
Interference and you win.
Ah, Laurent thinks he does see it probably. So, but he. All right, great. So, all right. So we have several people who see us, right? All right. Did you see Mr. Sear?
You buy or sell? What do you do? Buy or sell?
Oh, that's their trademark. So I do win, lose, or draw. I could do buy or sell, but then I want to be original.
He would sue you, right?
No, but see, buy or sell, if it could be neither. Buy, sell, or hold. I'm doing buy, sell, or hold. Oh, there we go. Okay, so what's the move? Yes, Shayna.
So rook A6.
Very good. Shielding. And the funny thing is, the reason why this is unusual is it just so happens that your doubled pawns win the game.
Oh, isn't that cool?
This is cool because normally doubled pawns are losing. Normally they're losing.
My games.
But they have everybody. Very good. Okay, so all right. So this right here is white to play. Can white draw this, or are they dead lost? Does anyone think that white can win this? I would say no, unless your opponent flags.
No.
So your opponent has plenty of time. So can you find a draw for this, or are you doomed?
There is a draw.
F4?
Yes, what's your idea, Bob? Of course, I was waiting for the whole class, but that's okay. The historian has privilege because he gets to write the books. You know, there was the expression, history is written by the winners. History is written by Bob Sear. So that's true. A lot of us are trusting Bob. For all we know, he's on Photoshop making this stuff up. But we're trusting him that this is actually real news. So after check, okay, what happens if rook takes?
Fork.
Aha. What happens if king takes?
Knight takes a4.
What happens if king slides out of the way?
Knight takes a4.
Right. And so, everybody, so why should this draw? Because when the king is not on the edge and the knight's around him, it's our turn. When the king's not on the edge, this is a draw because the king and the knight have air and they're close together. If the king and the knight are, if it's something like this, right? If it's something like this, right? There's often a way to win this because you can end up trapping the knight and then checking and winning the knight. So something like this can often lose for the knight because black, let's see, can we, the first thing I'm going to do is, can we cut, for the first thing we do is we want to cut the knight off like this, right? Or move the king. You move the king first. Because when the knight's by itself, the king and the rook can win the knight unless there's something weird happening. Is that true, Suez?
Yeah, it's
Usually.
king and I want to be close together like buddies.
Yeah, they have to. The king and knight have to be buddies. When they're not buddies, they lose. Buddy system. You ever have that for swimming?
No.
So when I was in camp, we had the buddy system, where what happens is when you're swimming in the lake, you and your buddy are always together, and that way no one drowns because you can't lose your buddy. There's two people next to each other.
That's how it is at
You can
school
both
now.
drown.
That's how it is at the pool.
At school now.
Oh, but at the wow. So you're not going to drown at school. I guess you're not going to run away either. Buddy system. That was great. So yeah, so that's good. The buddy system, that's a good one. All right. So there's some really cool ones here. I gotta find it. It's got that one. Where is it? It's going back a little bit far. Here I got that one. Okay, this one here. All right. I might just be making stuff up here. I could be making stuff up. I could be making stuff up here. All right, question. White to play. Is this a draw? Or is this a win for white? Do you recognize this Mr. Van Pelt Endgame book, Mike Smith?
I don't recognize it, but
Aha! Do you recognize this, Suhas? This is a rare position. White to play obviously can draw. We just take the rook and it's draw. But can we win this? Can we win this or white? And look how simple it is. Rook versus rook and bishop, right? That's pretty simple, isn't it? But does white win or draw?
You do a quiet move with the rook.
Okay, well, we have to, Lauren thinks that white can win. So he's going to calculate, and then we're all going to think about it and see. Is there a quiet move that wins?
Yeah.
Not that quiet, but it wins.
But Mario sees a violent move that wins, right? Because it's check violent.
Or look H7.
So rook h7. So if you go there, you play rook h7, then I have one whole move, right?
Rook h7, not a7.
Yeah, there's an idea. Do you see the idea, Suhas? I think Lawrence sees the idea.
Yeah.
Remember? So what happens is, so rook here, right? How many moves does black have?
One.
One.
Let's pause here. What move does white have? Do you see it, Mario?
Yeah.
Do you see it, Suhas? I wish I was playing Suhas instead of Mario today. Mr. Kurskavitsy,
wow.
do you see? Does white have a win here? White can play. Do they win or is this a draw?
Yeah, you can get the rook.
No pressure,
Yeah, you
Lawrence.
can't. That's a missing something.
So what happened was, this is the starting position, and the title of this lecture is it a win, draw, or loss? So first of all, white can't lose this. They can either win or draw it. But we have to find the right move. All right, so Mr. LaFosse says here, and this gives one move here. From this position, right, can anybody other than Mr. LaFosse see the answer? Because I think his eyes say he sees the answer. He's very confident that he has the answer. Mario would see the answer too, right? All right. So this is a chess thinking answer, right? You see it?
I think so.
Right. Great. And I think Mr. LaFosse gave us a hint earlier. Right? Do you see this, Mr. Sear?
Not yet.
Very unusual position. So Lawrence saw it first, so he's the highest rated person here, right, Lawrence?
No.
Sounds good to me.
The lowest rated person.
All right. Anybody else see the answer? Yes, Mike.
Should I give it or I see it?
Well, you see it? All right, what's the answer, Lauren?
I'm not sure anymore.
What are you thinking?
Oh, you bluffed me. I was bluffed. I was bluffed.
Bishop C7.
Yeah, see what happens here is we put black into Zugzwang. Isn't this freaky? Look at that. Right?
Oh, yes.
Oh,
Isn't that cool?
That's it.
So you lose the rook either way. Isn't that weird? So this is so weird. This is like Mr. LaFosse said, you're right, it's a quiet move. So first thing we have Mario's violent move. And then we have LaFosse quiet move. Isn't this weird? How you're going to skewer them. And there's no way out. This is an example of even in a boring endgame, amazing tactics can happen. So don't stop looking for amazing tactics. What happens a lot of times in the endgames, people are tired and they just make moves like there's nothing happening. This is exciting. Isn't this exciting, Shayna?
Yeah.
Very good. She knows the answer. She knows the answer. So
How are we doing on time?
maybe here,
Okay. So last one.
the lesson here is play on, play for a draw, or weird things happen in chess.
How about this one here?
That's a draw.
Another one.
This one here. Okay, so white here, white. This looks very drawish, doesn't it, everybody? Right? This looks drawish, but do we have something clever here?
Good play here.
Do we have something clever? All right. Mario sees it right away. Uh-oh, I'm playing Mario on bad sign. Playing Mario tonight, he's seeing it right away. Do you see it, Suhas? White to play. And this is illegal.
It's a good hint.
All right, so make sure, it's on the right squares. Yep. So we have a way, apparently we have a way to win this, right? Oh, Gert is here.
Gert.
Hey, Gert, is Van Halen a Dutch name?
Sorry?
Van Halen a Dutch name?
Actually, he was born in Amsterdam.
If Van Halen is
Van
Dutch.
Halen,
He passed away. Eddie Van Halen.
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Yeah, and who was Dutch?
Yeah, see, the greatest Dutch guitarist passed away today. Yeah.
Who was
So,
he?
all right. So this is white to play, and can we win this? Right. So we have people who saw the answer. Can white? So this is reduced material. So the theme is this a win or a draw for these endgames? Some are wins and some are draws. And a lot of it is reduced material because when the game is boring, people's danger sense goes away. but you always have to have a sense of danger, even with reduced material, because this is boring. It looks like black should draw, right? But it looks like it looks like they could win. So, wow, everybody's piling in. Mr. Ruse, Mr. Burtness. We're doing Endgames. The theme is winning or drawing. And is this a draw? It's a win. All right. So, how do we win this as white? Oh, we want to win. Oh, okay.
I just want to win.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah, all right. So,
King to F8.
king to f8. Is that a draw? So is that going to right? So we have to think outside the bun here. Not all my jokes are funny. If one person laughs, I'm funny. So how do we have to be clever here? We have to, like, the obvious stuff often doesn't work. We have to create tactics. So, like, if knight was here, this would be very easy, right? Knight's here. Knight to d5. This is called deflection, right? What happens if we take this?
You take on F7.
And then we queen. So after here, the king, right? What if the king moves here? Moves the bishop. What if the bishop moves here? Moves the bishop. What if the bishop moves here or here? So what if the bishop moves here?
Fork.
Okay. So here we go. This right here looked very boring, devoid of tactics, right? Looks like a draw. We have a resource. And you win. This is spectacular. Someone got swindled because I think that this probably should have drawn, right? But what happens a lot of times when you're playing stronger players is, like, when you ask for a draw, they say no. Because you don't get that higher rating by taking draws all the time, right? You get higher rating by winning when you're supposed to win. And even though there should be a draw, probably earlier was a draw.
Well, that's not legal, but
Right.
that position's not legal.
Yeah, it's right here, sorry.
And it's on E3.
So after this, double exclam is a win, right?
Just mention it, but what about bishop e8?
Right here, check.
King e5?
King e5.
Oh, that's nice. Oh, no,
Oh,
No, the knight could
just
still
in
protect. Yeah.
time, Suhas, just in time. But that was good. Maximum resistance. When you're losing, make them prove it. So, all right. All right, this is the end. And remember, when you're playing in an endgame, even when it looks boring, there can be amazing tactics in the board. So, like, if you have an hour on your clock in the endgame, just put some thought. Be careful. All right, thanks and good luck, everybody.
Actually, I think in that position, black has king g5, and now white's in Zugzwang.
No,
He doesn't have a good move.
the king H, we'll try it, but king G5,
King g5.
king H7. King H7.
Now take the pawn. Oh, no, you can't.
Yeah.
I thought he couldn't move without
Even
losing
king
a piece.
H7 works there.
Yeah, there's probably multiple wins here.
Yeah, everything works.
Probably
Okay.
multiple wins. All right, great. Everybody, have fun
Thank you,
tonight.
Jeff, for the lecture.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thank you.